The first Saturday of the Barclays Women's Super League season, and there is a weight of expectation hanging over Manchester United as they kick off their campaign on home soil at the Leigh Sports Village against Reading. The Royals are consistently seen as perhaps the overachievers in the top flight of English football, while for United it's anything but. Left on the outside looking in on the Champions League spots last season, a place at the top table of the continental stage is what's demanded from Mark Skinner's side this year. Let's have a look at the starting 11s for Manchester United. There's only one debutante, despite the numerous new arrivals for Mark Skinner's side. Lucia Garcia, the former Athletic Club winger, comes into the United attack today. She could dovetail nicely with Ona Bade, her fellow countrywoman, on the right flank. Alessia Russo is the key to the United attack, spearheading the front line. As for Reading, there's a welcome return to the WSL for Emma McCandy after taking 12 months out to become a mother. There are debuts for Charlie Wellings and Lauren Wade as they make their first appearances since signing from Bristol City and Glentoran Belfast this summer. Former United defender Diane Caldwell is on the bench today. Bathed in sunshine, this part of the world today. There's a last huddle for the visitors. A chance to take in what Kelly Chambers has said to the starting 11 before kicking off the campaign. We will, of course, be having a moment's silence before kick-off as well, as the United players go through their last warm-ups and get ready to kick off what it certainly feels like a really important campaign for Mark Skinner and this side.
Well, once again, we mentioned this just before, a very special presentation. She is our skipper, so please will you acknowledge Katie Zellum. She's made 100 appearances for Manchester United. Congratulations.
Wonderful moment there for Katie Zellum, the captain. Already a trophy presentation of sorts before the season even begins. And the armband, receiving a frame shirt with the 100 on the back, representing the number of appearances she's had for United. She meets Emma McCandy in the centre circle.
Everybody connected to Manchester United was truly saddened to learn of the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II at the age of 96. Over a 70-year reign, Her Majesty served the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth with distinction. The thoughts of everybody at Manchester United are with the royal family at this sad time. Today we pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth II and ask you to join us in observing a minute's silence in her memory, which will start and end on the referee's whistle. And upon the end of the silence, we'll then invite you to join in with the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, we're standing for the national anthem, God Save the King.
Touching moment before kick-off on both sides, and every single person in this wonderful arena pays their respects to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. These sorts of tributes will continue across the WSL this weekend with plenty of games. We've already got underway, of course, yesterday evening with Arsenal finding a 4-0 victory over Brighton and Hove Albion. There's a stack of fixtures on Sunday, but this, the standalone tie of the Saturday. And English football's top flight. And a chance to see if Manchester United have perhaps put the frustration of last season's campaign, missing out on the top three, safely to bed, and if they're ready to build once more for a charge towards the continental positions. Both sides taking the knee before kick-off as well, as they continue the support for the social justice movement and equality for all in and out of the game. It is Reading that get us underway then this Saturday in the WSL, kicking from right to left in their blue and white hoop shirts and the blue shorts and socks. Manchester United in their traditional red shirts, white shorts and black socks, kicking from left to right, the home side. It'll be interesting to see how Mark Skinner's team just settle themselves into the new season. There's been a fair bit of change, a number of new arrivals into this United squad. Mona Badier just rolling it back and inside to Hannah Blundell. Maya Letitia also in that back line, getting an opportunity to strut her stuff for United after joining from Brighton. That's a lovely ball over the top to find Leah Galton. Galton looking to dart down towards the byline. It's a hanging ball towards that far post. Russo whips it back in. Dangerous on the delivery. Good pressing by the Spanish defender as well in support, but Reading escaped for the moment. Grace Maloney more than happy to take her time. You get the feeling that Reading will look to perhaps try and frustrate United today. Kande. Ball over the top from the captain, and something that can be chased, but a slight chase in vain in the end for Charlie Wellings. From the Bristol City player, and he's also played a trade at Birmingham City as well in English football. One of the new faces for this Reading side this season that will look to continue to keep that role of overachievers in the WSL going. Finished 8th last season. They're the only side in the Women's Super League that doesn't have the backing of a Premier League men's team to support them. It does make life a little more difficult without that sort of financial security. Lucia Garcia making her WSL debut. Look at the quick feet of the Spaniard. Lovely work in close quarters around the 18-yard box. Ella Toon just couldn't get the shot off that she wanted. Still not cleared away either. As Reading looked to at least try and scramble it away from the top of the 18-yard box, and the Scottish defender taking control of things at least and getting away from the danger and a bit of respite. Zellum gives it across on Abadier. Almost leaving Lauren Way for dead around the outside, but an important touch from the Northern Irish woman. Zellum will take. Plenty in the box for her to aim at. And from the number 10, oh, he's going to loop over the keeper and go in. Frustration for Maloney, beaten in an unorthodox manner to say the least. United have the breakthrough, and it is a goal for the United debutant Maya Letizia. I'm not sure how much she knew about it in the end. It's not a bad way to introduce yourself to the new supporters. Not her first time playing in the WSL, of course. Only bagged one goal last season when she was plying her trade with Brighton, but she's off the mark already, the defender. As United off to the perfect start inside the opening 5 minutes. Through ball's easily cut out. Zellum retakes control. Garcia. Turner. Toon. Neat little back heel as well. Badier goes back. They're certainly asserting their dominance early on here with this possession. It's not too much penetration for the moment, although that's a lovely turn that will help things. Russo is making a run off the ball as well. Certainly weren't the worst side on their travels last season, Reading, in the WSL. Did struggle though, only Leicester Villa and Birmingham City conceded more goals away in the division last year. 22 slipping past Reading overall. Putting something going forward here, however. There's a big ricochet. Wellings was busy appealing to the officials. It dropped almost right in front of her. Hard to see on that second look if it came off an arm or not. The United defence very calm in the end. That's certainly the reaction, though, that Kelly Chambers would have wanted from her side. Offside flag raised against Garcia. Already looking very lively, the Spanish winger. One of a number of new arrivals, Nikita Paris on the bench, making her way across from Arsenal to Manchester United this season. Joanna Leon, Grace Clinton as well, all joining the club. Just looking to thread it into that little channel. Free kick given. Wade watching and just not allowing an easy way up the right sideline. United have to go back and across with Turner. Lovely ball, Russo. Garcia calling for it inside the 18-yard box. Goes short instead, and it cannons off the legs of Leah Galton, away and out of play. There's been a worry, perhaps, that there's been a reliance on Alessia Russo for Manchester United in the last few years. Picked up 9 goals in WSL last season. There is a overhanging worry as well at the club, with Russo deciding to turn down a contract extension with Manchester United. Deal ends at the end of this season, and they've seen what's happened to Jackie Groenen. He moved away just a few days ago to Paris Saint-Germain. I don't want to see another star walking away from their litany of players that have plenty of talent, but still go in search of that top 3 finish in the WSL. Sent it in. No real chance in the end, as Turner was providing a threat towards that back post, and she wins a corner for United. They look good at these set pieces. There's another chance to double the advantage. Badier. Can't be threaded through. Well cut out by the Canadian, and suddenly a chance for Reading to try and hit on the counter-attack here. Wade pushing forward. Has support in front of her, but she's still got plenty of space as well. Perhaps just needed a little more support inside the 18-yard box too. It's interesting, the run off the ball almost attracted defenders into Wade's path as she made her way down that left sideline. Worked in the middle of the park by the Dane Troelsgaard, but could go no further than that, really. Had to be very quick with possession, getting crowded out immediately as soon as she brought it down under control after receiving the little layoff from her captain. Forward from the centre-back, Letitia. Toon. Lovely threaded ball. Russo in behind. Keeper came. Oh, a penalty's been given. Have another look here. Russo just timing the run off the defender's shoulder. Now, does Maloney get a touch or not? She feels that she certainly did. Emma McCanday having her word with the official, but a frustrating blow for Reading. Not even a quarter of an hour gone, and United have a chance to double their lead. Zellum to take, the captain. Maloney went the right way but couldn't keep it out. Well, she's already received the trophy for her 100 appearances for Manchester United today. Now she marks the opening day of the season with a tidy finish from the spot, just out of the reach in the end of Maloney. You can understand perhaps why the Reading keeper feels very hard done by that. It's a big mountain to climb now suddenly for the away side. Decisions like that are just going to suck the life out of Reading very early on. This could get out of hand very quickly if they're not careful. Chance for the Spanish right back to probe forward. It's cleared away. United will keep the pressure on. Had some bad defeats against some of the big sides in the WSL towards the end of last season, Reading, in a run that saw them not take a victory in the last 10 games or so of the campaign. Lost 5-0 away at Chelsea, were beaten by Manchester City 4-0. Don't want to start this campaign in the same way. Reading are going to get back into this. They need to find some consistent possession in and around the middle of the park and establish themselves in this game slightly. Evans, a Welsh defender. And he goes long. Rose taking the long route round. It was a long route that came to a very abrupt dead end in the end. Zellum over the top. That's a lovely pass. Garcia's waiting. She doesn't get the pass she wanted. She was begging for it too. You saw the Spaniard just tearing in on the near side of this 18-yard box. Look how much room she had. The cross never came. Slightly selfish perhaps from Ella Toon. Just have a pause in play while the Reading defender gets some medical attention. There's a chance for Reading to just have a quick discussion in that back line you just saw there. Charles Gard having a word with her captain. Maybe something for Kelly Chambers to ponder over just for the moment. I wonder if any potential change is going to come. Would really cap off what's been a frustrating start on the away side. Trooper back to her feet, able to make her way across to the sideline, and hopefully she'll be able to continue. Reading will want her back in the action as quickly as possible. Russo. United happy to hit the reset button and restart at midfield. Badier. Cleared away by Evans. Poked by Wade. Pass doesn't find her in return. Towards Wellings, but she can bring it under control. Smothered. Very good job in the middle of the park right now, United, ensuring they control that part of the field. Overcommitment and some space for the Spaniard once more. Control by Woodham, but she's got herself into a spot of bother as she loses it. Just a slight shove in the back of Russo there as she went up. Blundell. Having a take on defenders down at the byline, and she wins another corner for United. The pressure's really on now for this Reading defence. The Royals right on their heels. Zellum. Tissier. Garcia. Wonderful work and a perfectly weighted pass too. Battier. Russo once more lurking and just couldn't get her head onto it. Rose trying to bring it away. She's bundled over. Elton has it back for United. Woodham. Well, trying to find Wellings, but nothing comes from them. Push forward once again. Absolutely starved of possession in this game right now as we've crossed the 20-minute mark. Got a player down on the decks. It's sportingly put out in the end by Millie Turner. Rose was down for a long time. She was the one that tried to race it out from the back out that right sideline. Everybody else was happy to get on with play, but the Canadian's still on the deck. Once more, another chance for a quick team meeting over there on the sideline. She's not walking well, is she? She's being helped off by the medical team. This is certainly not what the doctor ordered and not what Reading wanted for their opening game of the campaign. We do have options. Over there on that Reading sideline, could use the forward Natasha Dowick. Tia Primer, the midfielder, the youngster, could also come in. Perhaps play the role left by Rose. Wellings has certainly been the more of the out-and-out forward out of that front two, really. In the meantime, United just cracking on before Reading can make their change. Hoping to use this numerical advantage to their favour. Zellum. Everybody back behind for the Royals now. Just looking to hold their ground until the change can be made. Natasha Dowie waiting in the wings. What a bad ball just over the head of Russo. Shot being encouraged, and it takes a deflection. Cooper getting in the way. It's behind for a corner. It could have been a lot worse though for Reading, that one. Lovely ball in by Toon, dropped into the perfect spot.
For Reading, replacing number 6, Deanne Rose.
Haley Ladd fancying her chances. So Rose unable to continue. Now he comes in. Never want to make a change when you're defending a set piece like a corner, but at the same time needs must to get 11 back on the pitch. Zellum. A free header and into the bottom corner. And is that another? That's not a bad way to start your life at Manchester United. A set piece specialist perhaps, another great delivery from Zellum. It's a free opportunity, nodded home by Letitia. Perfect start to life at the new club. She had a very impressive pre-season, Letitia, in terms of her defensive ability. Not sure anybody saw her getting a brace on the opening day of the campaign, but she's done exactly that now. United just tightening their grip on this tie, and you feel that the 3 points is almost already assured, and there's a long way to go yet as Garcia's on the charge. Reading really need to regroup at this point and find a way just to slow down the United attack. Perhaps after Arsenal's big win yesterday evening, this is just United laying down a marker themselves. Zellum hangs it towards the far post this time. Letitia was jumping in the centre of the 18-yard box, but there's no way she was going to get to it. Maybe a chance to come away on the counter once more as Rowe loses out in the end. Now mopped up at the back as Turner racing back just to do her defensive duties after coming forward for the corner. Once more, looking to try and use the flanks well as they have done so far in this game. Lovely little threaded through ball again, and Toon eyeing an opportunity to push into the 18-yard box. Big shout for that ball to have gone out of play down there. I think it has done. Toon again, forced back. There's lots of chasing around for Reading at the moment. Zellum trying to knock it through. Decent coverage in the end coming across from Gemma Evans. Ladd. Let sends it back in once more. Garcia this time. And once again, Evans is watching her like a hawk. Having to come across and support Lily Woodham a fair bit. Garcia just drifted inside, which made her Evans' responsibility. Evans, who's been a key in this World Cup qualifying campaign for Australia and New Zealand in 2023 for the Welsh side, has more defending to do as the corner comes in. Toon. Wendell sends it into the box, keeper came, got just enough on it in the end. They're trying to get out of trouble. Finds a little more of it, however. Battier sends it in. Evans' clearance wasn't exactly a strong one, but mopped up in the end by Maloney. Garcia pressing very high. Both her and Russo just ensuring that it's not easy for the Reading defenders to play around with it at the back. Given away again as it's poked away by Hayley Ladd, who's doing a very good job just doing that dirty work in the heart of the pitch. Wade. Providing the support again behind. She wasn't going to be used though, and a corner suddenly for Reading. Chance to finally perhaps threaten Mary Earps' goal. Also a former Reading player, the Manchester United goalkeeper. Between 2016 and 2018, spending her club spell with the Royals. Can a reply be found here? It's going to ping around at the near post. Difficult to see who actually got a touch on that in the melee, if it came off a red shirt or not, perhaps. Rowe sends it back in again. That one just overhit. It's a very good ball initially from the corner to cause United their first real moment of defensive worry. Second delivery, however, just slightly too high. There were plenty waiting, including Evans at that back stick. Stayed up from the back and didn't retreat immediately after the corner had come in. See Kelly Chambers there in the technical area, still just calling out a few orders. Be interesting to know what she says at half-time if the score remains this way as we push towards the interval. She's been very positive, of course, as has everybody around the WSL, about the impact of the Lionesses this summer, their success at Euro 2022. It was an impressive World Cup qualification campaign as well. To see attendances rising if United keep playing like this. It's only going to get better and better. Cleared away as Toon, not once but twice, is thwarted. The first from a block from Evans, the second over the top of the crossbar. Just like that, United put their foot on the gas. Galton with the opportunity to send it in. Garcia can't get there, and the clearance fell right to Toon. Woodham. There's just no escape right now for Reading. Not with an easy pass out from the back. Now he goes down. Ladd staying down for longer as those two tussled. Lovely work from the two Spaniards. Combining neatly, that's beautiful. Well, you knew she was going to get on the score sheet eventually, Alessia Russo. Credit, though, to the Spanish wingers, who with some culture play down the right flank created most of that. Lovely ball by Garcia into Badier. And Russo rises and kicks off the campaign. Mark Skinner will be pleased to see that the quality that they were hoping to get from Lucia Garcia is already shining through. The new signing. Dowie under duress as soon as she touched it. Rowe gives it on the overlap. Welling's trying to make herself available. Rowe's there as well. Foul throw. Great piece of distribution into the space. Badier. Look at this for a counter from United suddenly. Galton out wide. Toon shifts it across to her. Russo moving into the box. Toon and others just taking up a bit of space on the edge of the area. Reading getting plenty back behind the ball quickly though. No chance to dawdle in possession for Wellings. Good communication to give her the shout. United once more try to pin the guests deep inside their own half. Tell him over the top, just out of the reach of Galton, trying to pluck that one out of the air. Rare touch for Earps. Badier. Cracking ball if Garcia can get to it. Good recovery in the end by Evans, came across. Just finding that gap between the Reading left back and the centre back. That one looks like it might stay in for a moment there. A real handful for Woodham and Evans to deal with. It's made more opportunity as well for the likes of Russo inside the central part of the 18-yard box. Russo. Corner. Well, Letitia will fancy a chance of getting a hat-trick on her Manchester United debut. 5 minutes to go before the break. There's no let-up from the Red Devils here. Fizzed in by Zellum. Everybody staying forward for the second delivery. Badier. Shout for handball as it ricocheted off Evans. Arms are out from the defender. A free kick in a very good position. And there isn't a red shirt stepping away from that 18-yard box now. Be worth a crack on goal from here. Looks like she's going to be the only one stood over it. Russo fancying it. Suddenly Reading have to organise a three-woman wall. Russo fizzes it towards goal, pumped away by the keeper. Well, I was wondering when Zellum was stood over it, Reading only had one woman as a temporary wall in front of the set piece, and considering how close it was, Russo spotted the opportunity to step away from the melee inside the box and just pull the trigger herself. Came off a United head last and out for a throw. Osgaard gives it back. Haven't seen her on the ball too often. It's a nice little one in towards the byline, but it's just going to overrun slightly. Another half chance for Reading to put some pressure on United. Just falls away once again. Closing down suddenly as Badier had nowhere to go. Dowie looking to do the same, but United happy to just knock it around her, move it into the space on the far side. Blundell. could be the modus operandi before the half-time break. The host just rolling it around at the back. First to it in the heart of the pitch, and trying perhaps to use the big Dane to support her, but nothing's going right for Reading in terms of their ability to keep possession. Everything is going wrong in terms of dealing with the United attacks, and once more stretched down this right sideline. Once more the opportunity ends in a corner. Reading nowhere near safe from not conceding once again. They've been a terrible twosome, the Spaniards, on this right flank, but it's been a joy to watch so far.
The referee has indicated a minimum
Sends it into the box. Header from Russo is one of the marks. 3 minutes of stoppage time then. Not the cleanest connection with 4 defenders around her. Still might be another one before the interval. Garcia beaten away. Good save by Maloney. A very good save indeed. That would have capped off what's almost been a perfect half for Lucia Garcia. Tried to take it a little earlier and prevent the keeper from closing down the angles. No rush from the former Juventus player. Them towards that back post, and it was Hayley Ladd who was looking to reach over her marker and just try and guide something on target. Always the intent, just knock it back into that cluster of bodies. The Welshwoman with the half opportunity. Mikande gives it forward. Wade nods it up into the air, but once more it's a red shirt first that's underneath the 50-50 ball. Rowe. Oh, that's a nasty one. Just caught by Ladd. Well, they know each other, of course, from playing for their country. Perhaps one that will just leave a slight dead leg on both of the two. Last chance for the away side to try and provide something a little more tantalising in front of goal. Floated in, almost an opportunity. Evans was lurking, but the half opportunity for Reading sums up a first half that they'll want to forget to kick off the WSL campaign this season. Manchester United right in the ascendancy from the word go. 4 goals before the break, 2 for the former Brighton player Maya Letitia. Zellum and Russo adding to the score sheet as well. And at the break, it's Manchester United in charge. United 4, Reading 0. Well, welcome back to the Lee Sports Village with Manchester United well and truly not just in the ascendancy, but at perhaps the highest point they could have hoped to be after the first 45 minutes of the brand new Barclays Women's Super League season. United have been out on the pitch for a fair bit of time, just going through their pre-half warm-ups. Reading just making their way out onto the field now, and as we mentioned earlier at the end of the half, you have to wonder what Kelly Chambers will have said to this Reading side. Always a difficult task to come to one of the, particularly the big four in the Barclays WSL, especially on the opening day of the season when there are perhaps just a few nerves and people still getting over a very busy summer that of course had the European Championships and plenty of the World Cup qualifiers that we've touched on as well. And there are some World Cup qualification campaigns that are not done and dusted for some of the women out there on the field today. Of course, this the only game this Saturday in the WSL. And Sunday bringing us a plethora of action. Villa taking on Manchester City at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. The 2-3 o'clock kickoffs of Leicester against Tottenham and West Ham against Everton, and then the reigning league champions Chelsea open their campaign on the road against Liverpool. Back in the top tier, back in the WSL, Liverpool hosting Chelsea. Arsenal already 4-0 victors against Brighton and Hove Albion yesterday. United have matched that in the first 45 minutes. Can't see any changes from the first half for either side. So aside from the introduction of Natasha Dowie early on for Deanne Rose, it is as we were when we started this game. We get back underway with United playing from right to left in this second half. 4 goals to the good over Reading. Looking, I'm sure, just to consolidate and take maximum points and maximum advantage of a weakened Reading side that has certainly been easy prey for United. And United straight on the front foot already. It's going to fall to Toon here, tries to keep the move alive. Toon once more. Over the top by Zellum. Padier can't be found. Woodham away. Dowie trying to hold up play. Just a slightly heavy touch and Lag coming across, firm but fair with the challenge on Lily Woodham. Well, it was strong from Hayley Ladd. It was certainly strong, but she didn't rush in or dive in. It was a ball that was there to be won. Good to see Lily Woodham back on her feet, the 22-year-old, very much considered a really strong young talent in this Reading side that could go very far in the women's game. She's still just limping away, just on the right of your screen there. She is able to continue, thankfully. And they're walking a little gingerly. Her fellow countrywoman Evans just telling her to move further down the sideline. And, Evans really taking the proverbial with the additional yards she's trying to get down that left-hand side. She's forced back to her captain. It's Reading defensive line. Have they restructured, reordered, found a bit more communication? Trollsgaard dropping deep to try and build up. I've seen her on the ball really for a large part of the opening 45 minutes. Barely seen Amelie Ekeland either as well in the middle of the park. United quick to retake possession. Garcia, Toon, lovely layover. Galton, keeper came and got there. It's still around. It's wide of the target. Galton just closed out. Russo couldn't finish off the move either. Everybody was still looking at the bodies down on the deck, but Russo had her eye on the prize as it pinged up. Just couldn't angle it into the empty net. That's an opportunity squandered, really, for Alessia Russo. They're going to know they're in a scrap, that's for sure, Reading, at the end of this time. Cooper once more just able to pick herself up off the deck. She's already been down a little bit, seems to be limping. I hope it's just a dead leg, because 3 players arrived at one spot. This is the challenge from earlier on from Hayley Ladd, who went heavy but fair in on Lily Woodham. Both fullbacks for Reading now in the wars in the early part of this second half. Garcia. Once more Evans comes across. Almost dropped to Galton's pass, she's still able to feed it through. Zellum couldn't find a way in that last moment though against the final defender. Some supporters encouraging the shot. Garcia can't keep it under control, but there was once more very little room to play with. Toon lays it off. Russo closed down. Even when it's tough, they're still finding opportunities, United here. Just getting the rub of the green. Toon closed down by 4. And they were quick to get across as well to make sure that Russo had no clear shooting opportunity on goal. Towards the near post, and melee of bodies in there once more. Letitia, I think, one of the targets. Garcia in there as well. I think it was a Spaniard with the final touch too. Found their goal at the European Championships against Finland. Few appearances for that Spanish side, a Spanish side that were of course defeated by England on their way to their summer success. And the Toon scoring against Spain in that thrilling semi-final, and then of course the final as well against Germany, that has certainly been something that the WSL and everybody involved in women's football, as we said earlier, wants to build upon. Every single manager in their pre-match press conferences building up to this delayed opening weekend of the WSL season has been discussing the impact that the European Championships in general can have for football in England and football on the continent as well. And those from the continent are starting to ply a trade very nicely for United. Garcia doesn't make the connection she wants as it dropped down to her. Russo almost may have put her off, in fact. So eager is she to get a second on the score sheet. Just pings up off McCandy's outstretched boot. Thought she was doing something to prevent the cross. It almost aided it right into the path of the 2 red shirts waiting. Dowie, it's been tough for her. She's tried to play that hold-up play neatly. Turner is just happy to be back playing football, of course, after that problem she had, carotid artery dissection, which is certainly a problematic condition where the carotid artery just splits of its own accord. It's certainly worrying for Turner. Some real serious possibilities of health conditions that can arise from that. It's been described like having a new signing. back at the club, seeing Turner once more involved around the first team after such a long layoff. Same can be said by the return of Emma McCandat to the Reading squad after her time away becoming a mother. Ladd. Kande gives it forward. Dowie trying to hold up. Brought down unfairly by Letitia. It's probably the first wrong foot she's put in so far. Trosgaard takes it short. Dowie just lurking in the box. Just over the head in the end of Wellings, who was waiting. Neat bit of possession at least for Reading. I'm sure we'll have been told to go out and start this game like it's 0-0. Away by Trosgaard, but possession returns straight away to United once more. Rousseau. Lovely turn. Really well done to create the space. Toon with the touch. Just put off by the defender. Reading suddenly holding on once again. All created by that wonderful passage of play from Rousseau. Left the Reading captain just wondering where she'd gone. Patier. Garcia lays it back. Toon. Garcia. Toon. Came to her kindly. Blocked at the vital moment. I think it was Cooper who just flung her body in the way. Patier. Toon and Garcia combining again. Rousseau can't get onto it. United still keeping possession though. Lofted into the box. Reading trying to hack it away to safety. We're moving towards the hour mark. Mark Skinner was discussing in his pre-match press conference how Manchester United, if every game last season had ended at the hour mark, they would have been the league title winners. Which is the frustrating fact that in the final third of games they just squandered opportunities to see them out. Can't imagine that they'll throw away a 4-goal lead in the final half an hour or so, just over that we have. Stranger things have happened in football, but it would have to be pretty strange for that to happen. Tia Primer, it looks like, is just getting set up from the Reading bench to come on. 18-year-old who made a debut season in the WSL last season. Welling's forced backwards. She just about finds the one patch of space around her that didn't have a red shirt occupying it. to almost the procession that we had at the end of the first half, with United just occupying the ball, not doing too much to play silly beggars with it. Instead, they'll release Elatoon. Russo hangs it into the box. Garcia was praying that would fall away. Randall trying to continue the attack. And ball given against the substitute Dowie.
Substitution for Reading, replacing number 51 Sam Trollsgaard, is number 37.
Kremer will be making her way on then for Trollsgaard, who has had a quiet return to action in the WSL. The Dane, placed by an enthusiastic youngster who will look to try and embed herself more and more in this Reading side. In fairness to Reading, these aren't the games that they would have been looking at this season and been thinking that 3 points was definitely going to come. The bigger battles with those elsewhere in the division. It's not to say that they can't beat some of the top sides. They actually beat Chelsea last season, the eventual league winners. As I say, that tough run towards the end of the campaign. 10 games without a victory. That hot streak between October and February that basically saved the season. Maybe a slow start here. Garcia trying to add insult to injury. She looks to scamper between the defensive ranks. Almost able to play Zelemin. Blundell. Tissier trying to thread the needle. Deflects safely into the bright yellow boots of Hayley Ladd. Contrast to what we were saying about Reading, these not being the games that Reading will perhaps be eyeing as the ones that will be setting their stall out for the season. These are the games for United that they need to ensure that they win convincingly if they're going to try and break into that top three, a top three that's held so tightly by Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester City. "14 points adrift of Chelsea at the end of last year. United 5 points adrift of third place City in that final Champions League spot. They dropped points as well towards the end of the campaign against Villa and West Ham last year. Too many draws as well between October and November. Drawing 3 and having a loss as well in a pretty rough spell for United by their high standards, considering the investment that's been made in the side and the investment that's been made in women's football at this club. European football is certainly the order for Skinner. And to his credit, Mark Skinner, he's discussed how so many sides against them last year sat in tight, tried to block off the middle of the park in the defensive third whenever United came forward. Very much similar to the way that the likes of Atletico Madrid or someone would sit in against a Barcelona side, allow them to send balls into the box without ever giving any space for the forwards inside the area. That's what made life tough as a change is coming. Garcia is going to make her way off. Adriana Leon comes on to replace her, the Canadian. Garcia does represent one of the players that Skinner is looking to use to find different ways, he described it, of beating teams. He feels the new arrivals at Manchester United will give them a bit more versatility coming forward. When teams try and block them off, they'll have multiple ways to attack and threaten. They've shown that today. They've had a little bit of luck as well, perhaps, with the penalty decision that went their way. This is very easy on the eye, and even when it's not pinpoint perfection with the pass, Badia comes away with it. Galton caught, free kick given eventually. It was a slightly late whistle, but a whistle nevertheless came. Gabrielle Byrne just wanted a second look at that, almost a moment to think about her decision. Booking as well for Woodham. Galton trudging away from the spot she was pulled down at. Another chance for Zellum to send it into the mix-up. She's been good with her delivery from the corners and set pieces so far. That one not the best of her abilities. Badia trying to keep the move alive. There's a chance to get it back out wide. Free kick as a nibble at the heels of Russo. Just keeps her down on the deck for a second. To go short with it. Toon looks for the return pass with the 1-2. It comes off as Galton was shoved down to the deck. Toon just continuing though. Hardly cleared away in the end by Ekeland. Galton a little hot and heavy with that one. They do have a start to the season this season, United, that they will look at and feel maximum points should potentially be coming from the first 5 games of the Barclays Women's Super League campaign. Away at West Ham after this, and they have Brighton on home soil, away at Leicester and Everton. And then they suddenly get into a very tricky November-December time. Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester City, and Villa sandwiched between those as well. 3 big games, potentially season-defining games in the space of 4 ties in total. Chance for the substitute Primer to try and create something. Has to turn and go backwards before Reading can go forwards. It's neatly moved across. Safety first by Cooper. Been a little more solid. It's been more of a back three with the wing backs of Ekeland and Woodham. Certainly United haven't exactly had their way going forward as they did in the first 45 minutes, but they haven't been tested either defensively, as that one's put out of play by Millie Turner safely. Woodham to take. Now have this United defence just stayed on their toes. Will something perhaps come for Reading from this corner? Deep ball into the box. I think it was the towering figure of Evans that was the target, but there might be a counter-attack on here, and Reading need to scamper back quickly because United are breaking with speed and precision. The pass though from Toon just doesn't have the legs on it in the end. On the Canadian, trying to play the supporting role for Toon there. She's doing that once more, but Toon can't find her again.
Substitutions for United, replacing number 23.
Changes coming then.
Thomas.
Thomas coming on for Alessia Russo, rousing warm applause from the home supporters. Russo off the mark for the season. I want more of the same. Spot Jade Moore down there as well, the 31-year-old. Hilda Bo-Risa, the Norwegian, will enter to get her first appearance in the new campaign. Ella Toon, one of the heroes for the Lionesses this summer. Take the acclaim as she trudges off.
Replacing number 12, Hayley Ladd.
Hayley Ladd is replaced by Jade Moore. Joined the club last January from the Orlando Pride. Only made 3 appearances in the WSL, the 31-year-old. Former Reading player, of course, made 47 appearances in the WSL. For the Royals. 8 goals in that run. Her last goal in the WSL actually came when she was playing for Reading back in February 2020. No chance for the moment to see the new French defender, Aissatou Tounkara. United would love to see. No chance either just yet for Nikita Paris either, the new signing from Arsenal. Didn't settle at Arsenal very well. Wants to rejuvenate her career in England with United. Just got 2 Reading players down on the deck after the awkward coming together. Everybody's slowly starting to get to their feet. United playing on here. Blundell. A chance for the Reading medical staff perhaps to come and have a look. There's Charlie Wellings down there who just got sandwiched. Look here again. Yeah, Primer and Wellings sliding into each other. It was actually a very good job in the end. Blundell's just to escape away from that Reading sandwich. Get play back underway here. Around about 15 minutes to go, plus any stoppage time. Second half hasn't been the stellar show that the first 45 minutes was for the home support, but it's all about seeing games out for United this season, as we've touched on. Although you get the feeling the writing was on the wall for Reading once that third goal went in after 25 minutes. Galton. Thomas in support. Scottish forward able to wriggle away from the challenges. Dowie once more doing the hold-up play. Wellings, it's been a tough old slog for the new Reading player in that front line. Had to work really hard to try and get any opportunity to get a foot on the ball. Wellings and Dowie. I have to say Reading have had to work hard for anything that they've got in this game. There hasn't been too much for them to get. Slim pickings at best going forward. United only leaving them scraps to try and feed off. Turner. Neat step by the left back. An even better pass too. Thomas. Well watched in the end by McCandek. Good tracking from the Reading captain. The threat's not been cleared just yet. It's averted for the moment. Zellum again, taking control of the set piece in towards that near post, but it just can't be glanced towards the target as Turner was first to it. Always difficult moving towards the ball, you're outside of the margins of the goal post. The change is coming. Galton making her way. Peter Paris will get a warm round of applause, to say the least. So Paris steps in then for her United debut. Has plied her trade in Manchester before, Nagita Paris, which I'm sure many are aware of with her time with Manchester City. As I say, it just never came alive for her at Arsenal. Lacked opportunities. Tough to displace the likes of Vivian Miedemar and co. She was very impressive though in her time in French football with Lyon, particularly her goal-scoring record. Anna Blundell, former Chelsea player of course, joined United last year. Immediately made a spot in that defensive line her own. Thomas did well, but not well enough. Welling still keeping the fight going, closing down. This is Primer. Zellem. The left back just starting to get forward, fed into Paris. High praise for her first touch from the home supporters. More across. Tissier drops it into the space for the fullback. Paris in support. Zellem. United waiting for an opening as Reading once more trying to just smother inside the box. Paris with the header at the back post. Just didn't get around it enough in the end. Stretching her neck as much as possible to try and get the angle. Never quite there. Keeper goes forward. Possession relinquished almost immediately, as it has been for a large part of the game. Defensive frailty was a worry for Reading last season. They conceded 3 or more goals 7 times last year in the league. One of the worst defences in the WSL last season as well, as it's collected by Maloney there. Everton, Leicester and Birmingham, the only ones to concede more goals than Reading in the last campaign. Can't rely on an incredible streak like they had in the middle part of last season to keep them out of danger. But Kelly Chambers does do a fantastic job of motivating this side. Described as a master of galvanising her team. The proof is in the pudding with the finishes that they have, considering the resources available to them compared to some of the other grander sides in the WSL. You certainly feel that Chambers is at the heart of why this side are considered overachievers and the success that they do get at this level of competition. Leon trying to turn. Nothing coming forthwith for the Canadian. Of course, knows about the WSL very well, does Adriana Leon. Of course, has been playing in England since 2018, moving across this summer from West Ham to Manchester United. Not perhaps part of the trying to build a bit of youth in the side, the 29-year-old, but certainly one to provide not only depth but real quality in every area of the field. A very successful international break recently as well for her country. Grabbed a couple of goals against Australia in a friendly. Woodham across. Rowe. Woodham again. Paris wanted the ball through. think everybody in this arena heard it, except perhaps Blundell, who didn't give it the eye at all. More. Barita getting it across. Thomas keeping it moving out to that far side. Suddenly have just lost something a little, United, since some of the changes. Difficult for perhaps a group of players, with some playing competitively in this side for the first time, to have that instant chemistry. These sorts of moments are going to be important for building relationships on the pitch between the team. Blundell. Zellum. Moore. Paris. Back again to Paris. Beautiful work. Just shoved off at the final moment. Strong shoulder barge, just putting off the United forward. Rowe, space in front of her. Reading looking to capitalise, perhaps. Left for the Welshwoman. And gives it down the line. Just not enough space in the end for Lauren Wade. Under control by Primmer, and then losing it. Support on the overlap. Nowhere to go for Onabadier. Well, a fifth would be the icing on the cake, and it would ensure that they go above Arsenal. At least until the rest of the sides in the WSL play tomorrow. Attention will, of course, be on Manchester City's encounter at 12:30 on the road against Aston Villa. And then in that 5 o'clock kickoff, Liverpool against Chelsea. Big shout for a penalty. At least from the crowd. Not many inside the 18-yard box fancied it, though. Letitia, I think it was, who went down to the deck in the end as she tried to get onto that cross.
The attendance this afternoon is 5,315. Thank you for your tremendous support.
Very solid attendance indeed that you may have just heard read over the PA system. Expecting solid attendances throughout the WSL this weekend as Paris tries to get to the byline. Can't go any further. Get the feeling United just want to put this game to bed now. Imagine that Reading are feeling a little similar in that matter. Their attention will quickly move to the away trip against Brighton in their next encounter in the WSL. Their first home game of the campaign. Doesn't get much easier. And Arsenal coming to Reading to take them on. Once ball over the top. Safely back in the end as Evans goes to a keeper. Maloney hasn't had too much to do. Just some worrying moments with United's pressure in this second half. Should probably be quite pleased about the fact that there's not been too much from United in this second period. It was a very busy opening 45 minutes, to say the least. The damage was well and truly done. Tissier. Well played by Zellem. Very intelligent football indeed. Just for a second, Paris looking to scamper onto that.
Substitution for Reading, replacing
change coming then.
Number 34, Abby Perry.
Madison Perry replaces Lauren Wade. Perry making her first ever appearance in the WSL, placing one of the debutantes for Reading. To the young forward, try and help support Reading in finishing off this game. 4 minutes of added time, 4 minutes to get a fifth then for the home side. Paris once more, she has been very lively indeed. She's come here and wants to show everybody that she is the Nikita Paris that we've seen in French football with Lyon, not perhaps the one that was having such a difficult time down south. Chance for her to latch onto that one. A handful of the supporters just starting to make their way out, but most are staying for the full-time finale. Zellem. Ball, it's collected in the end by Maloney, but only just as Thomas was stretching out looking for a touch. Teasing for the forward, inches away. Pinched by Paris. She looks to be provider for Thomas. The two substitutes looking to combine. It's not going to matter. The flag is up. You can see what the Scottish forward thinks about that. An immediate finger wag to the official. That was very tight indeed. All those behind the linesmen in the stands, I think, would agree with Thomas as well. Dowie almost trudging across there to close down. And that for a ball. United just playing with their opposition, but they can't get that final pass right, can they, to get in one of the forwards. When you're 4-0 up and the last few seconds are ticking away, maintaining that hyper focus and attention, perhaps just starting to become a little more difficult. The points have been in the bag for a long time now. Dowie tries to take on two. It's a heavy pass around Turner. Might fall to the forward again here, though. That just about sums it up for Reading, really. There's been effort, but there hasn't been much that's come from it. Perhaps almost ironically, the last touch of the game may well come from the woman who has barely touched it. And that's exactly what happens. Manchester United convincing on home soil to start the new Barclays Women's Super League campaign. A thumping victory. They were 4 goals up before half-time. 2 from the new signing from Brighton, Maya Letitia, with a penalty from Katie Zellum sandwiched in between Alessia Russo on the score sheet, as well, as you would always expect for the Red Devils most weeks in this division. Reading just didn't have enough in the end to be able to compete with the United side that have ambitions of the top 3, and perhaps even more this season. The final score here at Leigh Sports Village: Manchester United 4, Reading 0.